Hello, one and all. Is my reaction review and cut kind of video of Arifureta Season 2, Episode 4. And I am definitely excited going to this episode because last episode was, I was going to say the best episode of the season, but probably the best episode of the anime. The CGI fight, dragon versus dragon, was so amazing and such an improvement over Season 1. We got some serious background information on Tio, showing that she is more than just a one-dimensional character, and just, oh my god, little itty-bitty baby Tio was so adorable. She was so adorable, as was Shizuku's cat persona. Oh, I love that. Absolutely freaking love that. And honestly, just so far, the second season has proven itself time and time again. It's been good, and they haven't really cut out anything all that important. And based on what I'm seeing so far, it looks like this episode will do the same. I saw a few brief screenshots from the preview that came out a couple days ago, and I saw scenes included that I really thought they were going to end up skipping, so I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited for that. Though admittedly, there is one scene in this part of the light novel that I am really praying and hoping to God gets included, but yeah, it's pretty unlikely because it just adds, literally nothing to the storyline except being probably one of the funniest things I've ever read in my entire life. But if we don't get that this episode, I will definitely talk about it by the end. But alright, so let's get into this starting in 3, 2, 1. I am liking the way they animate Tio. I know it's CGI, but she really does look, in pain and alive. Yeah, as you might imagine, the people aren't really having all that positive reaction to seeing a dragon falling out of the freaking sky. For one thing, it's a dragon, a giant, terrifying monster, but for another, dragons are sacrilegious, they're heretical. Basically, 500 years ago, the gods framed the dragons for trying to betray humanity or whatever, and now it's illegal to even have a picture of a dragon. That's how serious they are, so yeah, the people have a very negative view of dragons, and are just so utterly terrified of Tio flying through the air coming towards them. And as you might imagine, Tio's really not in all that great shape right now. That's why she just collapsed like that. First off, the fight took a lot out of her, but then on top of that, while she was battling against the ash dragons, she was hit by their blast, which is actually kind of poisonous, and is just making it really hard for her wounds to close up, to heal properly, so she is in a lot of pain. In fact, in light novel, she actually stole a bottle of revival fluid from inside Hajime's treasure trove ring to drink, to allow her to actually get close enough to the city to land. And, actually landing near the city was definitely a risk for her because it's basically her telling the world, hey, the Dragonborns aren't actually dead, weren't actually wiped out like everybody thought. You should tell everyone. Which is not what she wants because her people are still in hiding back home on their island. So yeah, a very risky move, but she knows it's what Hajime wanted. He wanted her to go and save the city, so she's doing what she must, even if it threatens her own people. And yeah, everyone is really confused why the giant dragon just turned into a girl, a woman, a beautiful woman. And what's more, a woman who was just recently seen with a guy who promised to go save all of them, who promised to go to the volcano and get the stillstone they need to cure all their injured, to cure all their sick people. Corey, meanwhile, actually knew that Tio was dragon. Hajime explained the whole thing to her, so as soon as she heard, hey, a dragon is coming towards the city, she realized, wait a minute, I know a dragon, don't I? That's definitely an interesting question, but in the light novel, Cavalry was more concerned with Tio because, she was really badly wounded. And so before doing anything else, she cast detoxifying magic and curing magic on Tio to, save her life more or less. But here she was just straight up going like, where's Hajime? Where's Hajime? Where is the guy I'm so freaking obsessed with? Though yes, we as the audience don't actually know what happened to Hajime either because, last time we saw him he was in a volcano with a promise that, he would just figure things out eventually, somehow, some way. But Tio didn't really get the specifics of exactly what Hajime was planning on doing. Which just really goes to show her faith in him. And more than that, everyone's faith in him. Tio, Shia, Yui, when Hajime said, we're going to stay behind the volcano, nobody really objected because they knew, okay, if Hajime says that he must have a plan, he must have some idea of what exactly we're going to do not to die here. Alright, episode 4, Reunion. Oh, I'm excited for this. I am so excited for this. And again, like I said, they have complete and absolute faith in Hajime. If he says he can escape an erupting volcano, he's gonna escape an erupting volcano. He already has a plan all worked out, and he knows it's gonna work. Probably. Just such a casual line. Hey, I'll see you later. Like he's going out to get some groceries. This is because, if he said, don't worry, I'll figure it out, or something like that, Calvary would have worried. She would have been concerned. But by keeping it simple, by keeping it casual, he's able to reassure that he is 100% convinced he'll manage to find a way out of this and find his way back to her. Yeah, Mew is very confused over the course this conversation is taking. She's like, wait a minute, we're not going to get Papa? Why are we not going to get Papa? Wait, I'm going back to Erison? What's going on here? I mean, let's not forget, she is a 4-year-old child, an incredibly bright 4-year-old child, but still a 4-year-old child all the same. Wow, that looks so amazing. That looks so amazing. Oh, Hajime truly is the world's greatest engineer. And this was, more or less where I was expecting this episode to start off with Hajime already escaping the labyrinth thanks to his submarine. Oh, only Hajime, only Hajime. I mean, this is definitely a weird transition for, anyone who hasn't read the light novel. Hajime was in a volcano, and now he's in the middle of an ocean. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to explain how exactly he got here, but... Oh, I definitely need to look up some reaction videos after this, just to see people just so utterly, completely confused about all of this. Yeah, Hajime is still pretty badly beaten up. I mean, like I said, the Ash Dragon's attack is actually poisonous and causes some pretty severe damage that takes quite a while to recover from. Yeah, and as a result of that, he hasn't actually been able to share any blood with Yui, so instead she's been sucking Shia dry. I mean, she was trying to do her best in the situation because she feels so absolutely useless, and as a result she gave too much blood and passed out. Oh, poor Shia, poor Shia. In fact, light novel even explains that Hajime and Yui have an oath of blood, which I'm not really sure about the exact specifics of it, but as a result, every time that Yui drinks Hajime's blood, she'll receive way more mana than if she were to drink someone else's blood, like Shia's blood. So basically it's a contract in which Yui says she will only ever suck blood from Hajime. Why are you sitting on me? Because there's a Hajime there. I love it, I love it. The light novel even says this is somewhat reminiscent of the famous mountain climber's line. I climbed the mountain because it's there. Yui climbed Hajime because he's there. What other reason does she need? And she can actually run a full diagnostic on his blood just by drinking it. Oh, that is a scary vampire. That is a scary, scary vampire. And Yui just took off all her clothes. Of course she did. Of course she did. Oh, I gotta love this girl. Seriously? He has a half-naked vampire sitting on top of him, and he's deciding instead to focus on the volcano he just escaped from, which is an interesting choice, is certainly an interesting choice for him to make, and just shows how truly terrifyingly powerful his will really is. Yeah, that's how exactly Frieda was able to get behind Hajime in the last episode, because the ancient magic he got from here was the ability to control space, basically teleportation, which incredibly, incredibly powerful magic right there. I sincerely hope the future of mankind will be based on free will. Oh, that is well said. That is very, very well said, and appropriate for the liberators, and appropriate for those who, sought to kill the gods in order to free humanity. Yeah, I'm not really sure why Free didn't get that. Did he just not look for it? Was he not trying to find it? I mean, that thing is really important for conquering the next labyrinth, so I'm not really sure why I didn't grab one, or maybe there's more than one. Maybe every time a person reaches this chamber, a new one is generated. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I said before that everyone has complete faith in Hajime. At this point, it all just kind of collapsed. They all realized, oh my god, Hajime's gone crazy from blood loss. He's lost it. Well, now we're all gonna die, aren't we? Oh god. I mean, in their defense, that is kind of an insane thing to propose. is actually a really interesting moment in the light novel because Hajime took this thing out of his treasure trove right before he sent Tio away, with his plan basically being to see if it would, melt in the magma or not, and if it started melting, then he would get on Tio's back and they'd all ride out of the labyrinth together somehow, some way. He'd make it work. But because the submarine didn't melt right away, he decided that taking the submarine was a much safer choice, and that they would send Tio out ahead of time so that she could get to Ankaji and give everyone the medicine they needed not to die. I also just want to take a minute to appreciate the fact Hajime built a freaking submarine. He built a freaking submarine! Oh, I love it. I love it. And nobody even noticed. He built this without Chia, Yui, or Tio being aware of it. Oh, this man is next level. This man is so next level. Oh, I love this moment. I really do. Hachime's basically saying, we're going to be trapped in the submarine for days, weeks, maybe even months. I really don't know. And Yui and Shia basically say, as long as we're with you, we're going to be happy. We'll be okay. We'll be fine. That's all we ever wanted. They just, oh God, they love him so much. And they have such faith in him. I love it. I love it. Come hell or high water. I mean, that feels fairly appropriate given that they're swimming through magma right now. Yeah, and the light novels actually took a few days of them just, trying to pilot their way through the magma, with Hajime very worried they'd end up getting pushed down to the mantle of the planets. Thankfully, that was not the case, and they managed to exit out through the eruption of an underwater volcano. Yay! Unfortunately, that was not the end of their problems. Let's see if we actually get to see that. Yeah, lots of monsters in the deep abyss of this world's oceans. I mean, yeah, School of Sharks, that was one big thing I deal with. The other was a 30-meter long octopus who had 30 tentacles, which Hajime nicknamed the Kraken. There was also a giant sea turtle that pooped explosives. So it's been a very stressful couple of days for them. Okay, this is actually new to the anime. Interesting. Yeah, like I said before, she is really feeling useless right now because, her body strengthening magic isn't really all that useful underwater while they're in a submarine. So the only thing she can really offer to the team is her own blood, especially because Hajime's blood is, poisoned, and he is still recovering from all the massive blood loss. And yeah, now she is also suffering from massive blood loss. And after waking up, after literally bleeding herself half to death to save her allies, she wakes up to the sound of them having sex on top of the submarine. Oh God, poor Shia, poor Shia. She just really cannot catch a break, like at all. She wouldn't be getting up anytime soon if your loud banging and moaning had woken her up. God, you're awful people. You both are such awful people. She is ticked off! How do you freaking think she's feeling? In the light novel, I think Hajime was at least a little bit guilty in this scene. Here he's like, hey, you're up, how you feeling? Technically, they're not lost, they're heading east, because they know the oceans of this world, the shores of this world, are located on the western side of the continent, so if they keep heading west, they'll eventually be able to hit some sort of shoreline, and then they can ask for directions and find out exactly where it is they're supposed to be going. Oh, please tell me this is the moment I think it is. Please tell me this is the moment I think it is. Yes! Yes! Oh my God, they included it. They actually included this scene. I am so happy. I am so happy right now. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Hajime is, currently choking on a fish, so he can't really answer right now. It is a very chewy fish. Light novel specified it was a very chewy fish. Yeah, him knowing the name of the kidnapped girl is not a good sign for them. It's basically saying, I have something to do with her kidnapping. Okay, this is a moment I really do love because the Dagons, the merfolk, are being racist towards Shia. I know you're not supposed to love racism here, but really does give an interesting insight into the dynamics of this world. She is a beastman. The Dagons are beastmen. They should technically be on the same, playing field. But the Rabbitmen are widely considered to be the weakest and most pathetic of all the beastmen. Meanwhile, the Dagons, because they're the only type of fish beastmen, are given protected status by the kingdom, because even though the kingdom is really racist, they need them to do all the fishing, and they can't really, enslave the people who are doing the fishing for them. They'll just swim away, go somewhere else. So instead, the kingdom decided, yes, all beastmen are evil and God hates them, except for the guys that are giving us our sushi. They're nice, God doesn't hate them. Oh, you just gotta love the dynamics of this world, you really do. So yeah, even though they think Hajime is a kidnapper and a slaveholder, they're being mean to his slave for talking to them. I mean, despite that, these are not awful people. They just, follow dynamics of this world and look down upon those who are lower than them on the social standing. They also think that, Shia speaking up is basically Hajime's way of saying that, you're not good enough to talk to me, so therefore you need to talk to my slave instead. Yes! Yes! For those of you wondering, that fish didn't just jump out of the water and attack that man. He literally jumped over the water like a stone being skipped. Love it. I love it so much. Yes, Hajime just swung a fish and hit the beastman so hard he skipped across the water. As Yui just watches on in complete and utter awe. Okay, actually, in the light novel, the scene is much longer, with Hajime basically beating every one of them with the fish. I preferred it there, but I'm so glad we actually got to see it here, at least for a little bit. For the record, after this fight ended, Hajime basically knocked them all out, and then put them in a cage, and brought them, to the city they're going to, and then tried to explain that he is in fact not a slave trader, which is a very hard argument to make after you have, basically locked up a bunch of beastmen. But instead, though, we're going right to the next scene. As Miyu shows up, and you might be wondering, wait a minute, where's Miyu coming from? They're in the middle of the ocean, there's no way she could sneak up on them. Well, she figured something out. She jumped off the back of a dragon several hundred feet in the air and trusted in Hajime to catch her. Seriously, this is one of the few moments in the entire light novel that Hajime actually gets scared. Meanwhile, Miyu is completely and utterly fearless. She truly is the daughter of the monster of the abyss. I love it so much. Actually, in the light novel, Hajime is on the dock when this happens, and he jumps up with so much force it literally shatters the dock and sends the captain of the knights into the ocean. Aw, she's so happy to see him again. She's so happy to see her papa again. So happy she literally jumped off the back of a dragon just to get to him a little bit faster. Yeah, the other Dagons are just kind of, casually floating in the water after Hajime beat them all with a fish. Oh, poor guys. And poor Miyu, oh, she's so upset because Hajime had to give her a rather stern talking to when he told her, Miyu, don't jump off the back of dragons! It's a really, really bad idea, and you could get hurt! Aw, Kori, she's, also really happy to see Hajime again because, let's not forget the last time she lost sight of him, she thought he died, and then spent the next 2 months thinking he was dead until she finally managed to reunite with him. Ooh, I like her boldness, trying to get hugging with Hajime this moment. Actually, in the light novel, this whole thing happened when they were already back in the city, and everyone was watching as all the girls just started hugging Hajime at the same time. It was very adorable and wholesome, and it caused a lot of people to hate Hajime even more because he has so many beautiful women all around him. Yep, this is actually a light novel too. Tio grabbing Hajime and pushing his head into her bosom. Because, even though Tio was assured that Hajime would be okay, she also went through some, trauma in the past, last time she was told to leave someone behind, it was her father. She left him behind and he died. And then the volcano, Hajime said something rather similar, telling Tio alone to run away to survive without him. And that just, really, really worried her. Even though she knew in her mind that Hajime would be okay, deep down, she was still afraid that she'd go through the same thing she did in the past. Yeah, so they decided to leave the Dagons passed out on the dock of the ship, because really, what else are you going to do in this situation? I mean, light novel did explain that they were actually just worried about Miyu. They're in fact friends of hers, or friends of her mother, I suppose. I mean, Miyu is really adored and beloved in her home city, and everyone is just really worried about her. Erison, the city on the sea. Interesting. I wasn't really sure what to make of this. I mean, it was described as being a city that was just floating, but wasn't really sure what to expect from it, but this is a really cool design that I really do like. Yeah, and as you might imagine, the people are really, really confused about what exactly a submarine is. I mean, it is a ship, but to them, it might as well be a monster. Yeah, like I said, everybody knows Miyu and was very, very concerned for her safety. Okay, this scene went way better in the light novel. A small change, but I mean, like I said before, Hajime's reunion with Miyu didn't actually happen until he was on the dock, and that's the captain of the guard. And, when he first came across the captain of the guard basically said, Hajime, I'm gonna lock you up in jail because I have no proof that you are who you say you are, or that you're here to return a missing little girl because the little girl isn't even with you. And Hajime was in a rather difficult predicament because, yes, he could just murder the captain of the guard, murder everyone in town, but this is Miyu's hometown. He didn't want to be, hated here. He didn't want her to come back and find that the entire town had been burnt to the ground. So it was like, okay, do I let myself get arrested or not? I mean, I really do hate people telling me what to do, but I don't want to make Miyu cry. And that's when she jumped off the back of a dragon, and Hajime had to catch her in midair. And then he got his treasure trove ring from Chio and was able to pull out his adventure ID and a letter of introduction from Furin's guildmaster, which is why it pays to network. Because Hajime made those connections, people trusted him, they listened to him, and they agreed that he wasn't a kidnapper. Yay! She's so adorable. She is so, so adorable. And she really does miss her mom. I mean, it's been a good 2 months since the last time she saw her before she was kidnapped. I love this girl. I freaking love this girl. Even though her leg is completely messed up, even though she will probably never walk again, as soon as she finds out that her daughter's back in town, she rushes out of bed. She tries her absolute darndest to make it to the dock, to be there to greet her daughter. Oh, that is a strong-willed woman right there. That is a strong-willed woman right there. And that's exactly where Miyu gets her stubbornness from. And as for why she can't walk right now, well, shortly after Miyu was first kidnapped, she stumbled upon some humans like, hey, have you seen my daughter? And unfortunately, they were the kidnappers, so they attacked her. And even though she wasn't at all trained in, self-defense or fighting, she still tried her best to hold out as long as she could until one of the human mage's fireball attacks struck her leg and knocked her unconscious. And now she'll probably never be able to walk again. Sad. Very, very sad. Also, she is just so beautiful. I freaking love it. Oh, mother and daughter reunion. I love it. I love it. And everybody's happy. Everyone's so happy Miyu's home. I mean, the Beastmen communities are usually incredibly tight-knit, so everyone's, family with one another. I mean, the whole reason why Shia's tribe was chased out of the Sea of Trees was because they kept Shia alive. They didn't kill her like the law told them to, even though they knew it would be a death sentence for all of them. They refused to kill one of their own. As a result, the whole tribe was basically sentenced to death. But even among Beastmen, Remiya and Miyu are particularly well-loved and adored because Remiya is absolutely beautiful and single. And Miyu is just absolutely adorable. This is, this next one was going to be a lot of fun, but Miyu being concerned for her mother's welfare, her mother's injured leg, is actually really surprising to Remiya because when Miyu was kidnapped 2 months ago, she was an incredibly selfish and spoiled child. I mean, like I said, everyone loves Remiya and Miyu, so as a result, everybody spoiled Miyu for her entire life. She's never really been told no before. But, throughout her journey with Hajime, she managed to grow, become less selfish, managed to develop a sense of empathy, and become a much better person because of it. So yay for kidnapping! And yeah, now we're gonna get to some of the interesting moments because Miyu just referred to a human as her papa, even though her own father has been dead for, the last 5 years. So, yeah, this is gonna lead to some confusion. This is gonna lead to a whole bunch of confusion. Especially for Miyu's mother. It's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? You don't have a papa. Wait, okay, I just need to rewind a second there. Okay, so all these beastmen are currently fighting over who gets to be Miyu's papa, who gets to marry Remy, I guess, and that includes the beastman on the end, who I'm fairly, 90% certain is in fact a woman who wants to be Miyu's papa. Okay, so yeah, I guess people of all kinds are after Remia. Wow, that's interesting detail right there. Yeah, Hajime, you're doing your best, dude. You're trying to help her out here, but you are really not helping with the whole rumors thing when you pick her up and carry her princess style into her home. That's really not helping with any of the misunderstandings. You couldn't have had Shia or Tio do that instead? Or have Yui use her magic? Or pulled out some crossbits from the treasure trove and had them carry her? No, you had to pick her up like a freaking princess. And based on that expression, she is already in love with him. I mean, that's not an entirely absurd notion. There is a man over at her house who her daughter is calling Papa, and, he just carried her into the house princess style, so yeah, that does make it seem like she's getting remarried. And there's actually a really weird line level right here, where a guy says, we need to call a meeting of the Remia and Miyu Protection Committee. They have a fan club. They literally have a fan club. Yeah, well, Calvary is not your average healer. She is probably, undoubtedly, the best healer in the entire country. We often forget that because, she is not really all that impressive compared to the massive powerhouses that are Hajime, Yui, Shia, Tio. But Calvary is impressive in her own right. Yeah, it's about time that question actually gets asked. I mean, there is a strange man in a harem of beautiful women who suddenly appeared at your doorstep one day with your daughter, and the daughter is now calling him Papa. As a mother, she has every right to actually ask what the freak is going on right now. Yeah, I think she's trying to be building up the courage to ask this question the entire time they've been in her home. She's just, really hoping someone would explain it at some point. It was a story so long it actually put Miyu to sleep. Even though it was a story about how she was kidnapped. Wow. Yeah, Hajime was kind of hoping that once Miyu, got back with her mother, that she would be able to, separate herself from him a little bit and he'd be able to continue out on his journey by himself. Because he knows, yeah, I'm going back to my own world. I'm going back to Japan. I can't bring Miyu with me. That wouldn't be right to her mother. But doesn't seem like Remy is actually going to let him get away with that right now. Yeah, she's being serious right now, or maybe she's joking. It is honestly hard to tell with this girl. Really, really hard to tell. And yeah, making those kind of comments can cause some very, very chilly stares from basically everyone in the room. And yet, despite that, Remia seems completely fine. She is not fazed at all, despite the fact that literally everyone in this room besides Miyu can kill her in all of 2 seconds. Yeah, to Miyu, Hajime is already her papa, and nothing's ever going to change that. She will always be the daughter of the monster of the abyss. Yeah, like I said before, there is in fact a Remia and Miyu Protection Committee, and I guess they're all going to go have an emergency meeting to discuss Remia basically getting remarried. And hey, looks like we're flashing back over to the classmates. This is gonna be interesting. Okay, looks like we're starting off with Shizuku. Who's she going to meet? Kaoki? Aiko? Oh, I guess she's talking about Aiko-sensei, who just got back from Lake and is now going to have a meeting with the king to report on everything she saw in Lake including Hajime, who just went on to murder 60,000 monsters. That has to be a long report. That has to be a really, really long report. And just based on her expression, I'm going to assume the report didn't go all that well. Yeah, she's really happy to hear about that because when she saw Hajime, I mean, let's not forget he had just murdered a fellow classmate. So she was really concerned about his future, about what exactly he was going to do, how exactly he was going to live in the darkness moving forward. But learning that he saved a little girl, learning that he went back for his classmates and saved them, that reassures her that Hajime, is still good deep down inside. Yeah, he's remembering his previous self. He's remembering who he used to be before the Abyss literally stripped out all of his humanity and stomped it on the ground. Oh, God above. Oh, God above that reaction. The blushing, the holding her face. Oh my God above. He's your student, Aiko-sensei. He is your freaking student. Come on, Shizuku. It is not that hard to figure out what's going on here. I mean, everybody's fallen in love with Hajime. Why not his own teacher? Yeah, the exact way she was saved. That is, that's an interesting explanation, because let's not forget, Hajime saved her by forcing her to drink the recovery potion by, basically kissing her. Yeah, something happened, something. I mean, it didn't mean much to Hajime, but to her, I'm fairly certain that was her first kiss. Oh, poor Aiko-sensei. Yeah, that is a very, very good question. I think even Shizuku's had enough at this point. I mean, seriously, Hajime already has a harem, and now he's recruiting his own freaking teacher. Oh, that face. I love it. I love that face. Yeah, like I said in my last video, that is a really, really big deal. Once you're declared a heretic, you basically lose all human rights, nobody can help you, and anybody who sees you on the road can straight up murder you. It's also just, a really bad idea because Hajime could literally wipe out all of humanity by himself, and they decided, yeah, you know what, let's take off that dude. That seems like a really smart choice to make. Yeah, that's actually a really interesting question because, Hajime declared that Aiko was the goddess of fertility to basically say, I am blessed by a goddess, I am blessed by the great Aiko-sensei herself, and now they've declared Hajime a heretic. Wouldn't that also mean the goddess that approved him is also a heretic? They should send Koki after him. That'd be fun. I mean, he'd lose, obviously, but that would still be fun to watch. Alright, that's the end of Season 2, Episode 4. Definitely a good episode. I love seeing Hajime and Miyu reunite. I love seeing Miyu and her mother reunite. And I truly, truly love seeing Hajime beat the fishman down with a freaking fish. Oh, that was beautiful. That was so beautiful to watch. I'm so glad they included it. And looks like next episode is going to be Memories from the Bottom of the Sea, as Hajime moves on to the next labyrinth and the next danger. Ooh. While staying at Remia's house, a beautiful woman who is openly flirting with Hajime, even as the rest of his harem wants to murder her. Oh, that is a strong woman right there. That is a very, very strong woman. But please link us down below. What do you think of the reunions? What do you think is going to happen next? What do you think is going on with the king? Why is he suddenly declaring Hajime a heretic? What exactly is his plan to stop Hajime, given that, Hajime is way, way stronger than his hero? Do you think he's going to send Koki after Hajime and try to take him down that way? Like I said, it would not work, but it would be so funny to watch. Let me know everything else down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. See you on the next video, and until then...
Peace.